welcome to Westgate. I'm hoping this morning's going to be a bit better than it started off. No coffee this morning. Breakfast consisted of a can of Monster and a Yorkie bar. Not the best for a day out walking and taking photographs, but yeah, I'm more concerned about the weather. There's a huge grey cloud coming over. Behind me is quite light, as you can see, but the other side's quite dark, but we'll see. I'm stood over the River Wear at the moment, and yeah, let's have a walk along into Westgate, have a look, see what we can see there, and hopefully get some photos. I'm not confident today. I'm not confident. Let's go. So to get where we're going today, we have to walk through public right of way, runs right through someone's garden. They've got a beautiful property where they live, but it does get quite busy. It's quite a lot of visitors come this way, but we'll have to be quiet when we go through. It's early morning. So we'll bypass the waterfall for now. It's not really what I came here to do today, shoot the waterfall, but it is very, very pretty. So yeah, we're in Westgate today. In last video we were in Eastgate. Eastgate given its name because it was the east entrance to the Prince Bishop's hunting grounds. Westgate, it was a west entrance. 3 miles west of the Eastgate village. And yeah, this is another old mine really, but much older than the one from Eastgate. This dates back to the 1800s. So yeah, we're going to have a look up today. See the ruins up there. There's not many ruins, but I think it's interesting for people to see if people haven't been to this area before, because yeah, Weardale gets overlooked. I mean, we're quite close to Northumberland, we're close to Yorkshire Dales, also close to the Lake District, so a lot of people bypass this place, but honestly you're missing out if you don't come to this. Absolutely beautiful. So let's get around this. Oh, we've had a lot of rain recently. I think it's been raining this morning over here. Let's walk around. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll have heard me say I'm not here to shoot the waterfall today. Well, yeah. Have a look at this. Yeah, just a great little spot. Looks like there's a branch come out over the top of the upper piece of the waterfall just here. So I've just got a shot lined up, let me show you. So that's the shot there. Hopefully it's see it okay. So you can see I like the way that it's quite a balanced composition. So the left hand side we've got some quite dark wet rocks which are giving some reflection in the foreground. We've got the framing across the top here from the tree, framing that nicely, covering that, otherwise it would have been quite a boring space across the top, and it almost forms a perfect frame for that top part of the waterfall. And in the bottom right hand corner here we've got the water rushing towards us and out of the frame. I think it gives us a really nice composition, nice and colourful with the rain and the browns and the greens today. So yeah, quite happy with that. Let's take a shot of it and move on. Settings wise, 1 second exposure, f11. 1 second's quite enough. The water is quite fast flowing. F11, making sure that we've got the foreground here nice and sharp, and the background as well, because we want everything to be nice and sharp for this image. I'm not going to focus stack it. I am using quite a wide angle on it. I think it's probably around about 24 mils, something like that. So yeah, you know, you can suffer from a little bit of softness around the front, but I don't mind that too much because your eye is drawn straight up to this area here, and I like this to be nice and soft anyway. So yeah, let's take the shot, and yeah, we'll see what comes of it. I quite enjoyed that shot, nice. Interested to hear your thoughts on this. So, carrying the tripod like this, I don't like usually shooting with the tripod, if I'm honest. I find it quite restricting. I mean, it does make you more consider the composition, and you know, you have to kind of really prove to yourself that the shot's worth it. But I like to shoot a lot of images. I like to work a scene and move around a little bit more, and I find that yeah, tripods are quite restrictive, so quite often I don't mind using a little bit more of a high ISO. Did I say high ISO? Wow. You don't hear photographers saying that, do you? But honestly, I don't mind using high ISO. A lot of the images, let's be honest, probably 80% of the images you take, you're not going to print. You're not even going to view them on a huge screen. And the sensors these days, you know, you can take good shots on high ISO. But yeah, so what I do, rather than faffing about, loading my camera gear back up, strapping it back to the bag, so I can work quickly, I end up carrying it. But I don't care. It works for me. You do you. You do you. Oh, let's get further up here. More waffling, more waffling. So I found another composition which I really like, but it's a bit difficult to get to. You can see the waterfall just on the edge there. You can't really see it on camera, but just above the waterfall, where the two kind of streams come together, there's a small island on there, there's a tree, and that tree is kind of framed by the trees on either side of the beck. So I need to try and get down here, but it isn't easy, I don't think. So let's have a look. Hope you don't fall in because the water's cold. I've got waterproof boots, but the water's cold. Let's have a look. So yeah, I'm really struggling with this composition. Ideally, I want to be kind of down here, but you see water's quite deep. I've got the camera set up here at the moment. Very precarious, keeping a really close eye on it. So what I think I'm going to do, what I wanted to do, because I really like the way that the water runs down here, and I wanted to kind of get this rock formation in the foreground, this in the midground, and then this is the background. But here, because we've got this tree, it's just creeping into the shot, and I can't really zoom in. So I'm going to go and try and set up on this platform here, and hopefully try and get the shot from there. But yeah, it's quite a tricky one, this. But yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? Let's have a look. I don't even know if you can hear me, this water is really loud today. I've got a much better shot lined up. Being really careful, these rocks are slick. There we go, so yeah, much better, not closer, nothing kind of in the way now. I think I need to be a little bit higher, because what I want to try and do is get the kind of line across the back, so you can see the water rather than it just being a line across and dropping off, because then it doesn't connect it to the background. But when we take two shots, I'm going to take one a little bit lower down, so you can see what I mean by that. So we can just see the waterfall and tree in the background. Then I'll rise it up a little bit so we get more of an eye level shot, and hopefully that'll be more impactful and give us more of that kind of feeling of movement and the separation between the background and foreground without having a strong border across there. So I'll just show you what it looks like in camera right now, and I'll take two shots and show you them both, and you can compare them. Let me know what you think. So after that completely unplanned half an hour, I'm finally at the place I wanted to bring you to see. And the first time I came here, it kind of surprised me how much you come through the woods. And yeah, I'll let you, well, I'm not going to explain too much, I will let you see for yourself. But this was a mine, lots of mines in Weardale back in the 1800s. And it's fairly remote, you know, the North Pennines. It isn't very populated, even now, never mind back in the 1800s. So just thinking back as to how the people used to work here every day, probably lived here, you know, harsh winters, heavy rainfall, terrible conditions. But this mine was open, as I say, from the 1800s. There's a little placard further up which I'll read out to you, I think, or I'll put it on video so you can pause it and have a read for yourself. But we'll see the ruins, and we'll see how I kind of operate it. But it's an interesting place, and if you're near this area, definitely recommend coming on, having a look. Lovely place for a picnic during the summer. You get lots of families up here, but shh, don't tell anyone, we don't want everyone to know. Come on then. So as part of my process, for want of a better word, and I don't want to get too artsy with you, that's probably not what you want, but as part of my process, when I visit a new place, when I take an image, what I'm looking to try and do is capture the essence of what it is. You know, what is this area? What's the history? You know, what's the atmosphere like? You know, that's a really key point for me, the atmosphere. You know, when you look at an image, it's not just about, you know, is the correct composition, is the exposure correct, are the colours saturated correctly? It's about, you know, does that image accurately reflect what this place is like? Like on the video, you know, when I move it around, you can get some sort of sense of that. But you know, it's quite a big area. How do I condense this whole scene into one image that just says, okay, that's this area? You know, really, when you look at it, it really pinpoints this area, and you get a sense of all of those things. So that's a challenge. So I'm just having a look around now to see if I can see a composition. Sometimes I try and fit all of the key elements of an area into that specific composition. But sometimes when you've got an area, maybe you haven't got a lot of room to work with. You know, maybe it's, the elements are quite far apart. It can become quite difficult to do that. But that's what I want to try and get to, you know, try and really come away from this today with the grey skies, flat light, miserable weather. It's going to be tough. But you know what, this is just such a lovely morning. It isn't raining this morning, it was, but it's not anymore. I've talked about the rain a lot this morning, haven't I? That's the UK for you. Well, I'm going to have a look around and see if I can capture that. Let's have a look. Well, I think I've got something. Quite like it. It's a shame there's no light, but then, like, even if there were, we're in the middle of a valley here, and I can understand why, you know, back in the 18th century when this place was started, I can see why they built all of the main structures of the buildings here. Well, have I fulfilled the brief that I gave myself? I'm not so sure. But here's a composition I've set up here. So we can see from the right hand side of the frame here, we've got a leading line that comes up and then a path that goes all the way up to the top. We've got a line that comes in from the left of the frame, just a frame and over the bridge, so we can see one of the main elements, which is the water. I mean, that's the big feature here. That's why this kind of the buildings and the mine was built here, because of the water, and they could use its resources. On the right hand side of the frame there, we can see that we've got some remains similar to the central figure there. So yeah, and we've got some nice colour. Try and not to wash the sky out. The sky is just a grey blob, which isn't great. I'd love there to be some moody clouds in there, because I think this place really is, you know, it's rugged, it's in the North Pennines, it's ravaged by the wind and rain. Would have been nice to have had some clouds, but I don't think we're going to get that today. Anyway, yeah, 2-second timer, F11, third of a second, because we're out of the trees now, so we won't get too much movement in the water, but it'll be enough to give it a little bit of activity there, a little bit of motion. But yeah, let's take this shot, and if it's any good, I'll show you. Oh. Well, that was a pleasant excursion. Make our way back down now. Final look around. So if you enjoyed this, yeah, consider giving it a like. I appreciate that. The old thumbs up. If you want to follow as well, got more of these little excursions planned. around the Weardale area, part of the series that I'm doing. And I really want to showcase kind of what this area is about, you know. It's off the beaten track. Not a lot of people come here, so it's unusual. It's quiet if you like exploring, seeing new things. One of the things I like to do is, you know, when I take photos, I like to take the nice landscapes and the usual kind of expected shots that you see up in Glencoe and things like that. But also one of the things I really enjoy is taking pictures of things that people don't come to very often. They might not even know it's here. And it's that exclusivity that I like. Yeah. Yeah, doing something a little bit different, that's always important for me. But yeah, if you want to subscribe, please do. Very much appreciate it. I'm going to walk back down now. I'm going to have some coffee, hopefully. That kind of monster has certainly pepped me up this morning, but I think it's time just to have a sit down now. And I'll catch you next time.